All right. Okay, we're streaming on YouTube. All right. And then I'm going to give you that link real quick. I'll drop this in the chat on Discord, and then I'll get you some video. Oh man, seriously, guys, so sorry, so sorry. I'll take the blame on that. All right, I should give you video, which is cool since we're going to go back to the slides. All right, hey, I think this is the official start. L'chaim. Hey, everybody, how we doing? What a waste of bloody time for everybody. Not the worst disaster that's happened since the pandemic 2 years ago kicked in. All right. Okay. Reminder again, if you're here and you haven't done it, do the attendance. Jump on attendance and mark yourself present. Appreciate that. And okay, I think that conclusion. If we do this again next week, I vote that we just do Discord and we just don't worry about Teams. If anybody's got a really strong opinion about that, we'll try to figure that out. But I think that that's what we should do. Okay, let me pull up my where we were on slides last time. Wow, you guys you're losing stream and the audio? Let's give it a sec. This may just be, wow. I don't know, man. Should we just say bag it, give everybody credit, and come back on Thursday in person and try to work this thing out? I mean Wednesday, yeah, not Thursday. Yeah, this is just being stupid. This is hybrid not doing too hot. Thanks, Riley. You're right. The problem is if I drop the YouTube stream, then I lose. There are people that are sick that are currently down and not able to join in real time. So we got to have some ability to record. That's the problem. There is that Canute, or are you mocking me, Canute? Um, I could do just YouTube, and then now here's the only problem, Seth. I've done that before. Yeah, OBS can do both. The problem, Seth, is that when you just do YouTube, there's like a, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, 10-second delay that happens. And I can record and upload later. The problem is we lose all the interactivity, which is kind of a valuable thing for me. And yeah, and so what we did, William, for 2810 was what I was trying to do here, but I think that I may have just, I don't know, it may be that my router's got a problem or my provider's just being suck on the bandwidth. Right, exactly. It might be just that internet's bad at the moment. Yeah, my PC is pretty robust. It's a high-end MacBook Pro. Couple years old, but still top of the line at the time. All right, but do we have? Thanks, Jansen. Yeah. So, okay, do we have video? Or can you for people that are live on Discord? Is there enough video to get a little bit of value out of the fact that we're all here? Have we reached some kind of stability and the video is working as well? Okay, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna give it a shot. Appreciate it. Isn't the comments great? The text comments I think work really good. I'm just still gonna go back to blaming Teams for sort of like just trashing the whole system, and then let's just Yeah, I really do like the text comments, which is something that we don't get as much in class. Yeah, that's right. Teams is sabotaging me. Okay, alrighty, let's do a thing. I feel a power surge. Let's just try to get, what have we got here? We've got 45 minutes. Let's just try to, yeah, we could do text, text chat in class as well. Okay, let me just get my lecture stuff here, my slide factor. Yeah, that's right. So we can get memes and stuff in real time, Seth. I'm on board. In fact, I experimented at one point with trying to get something like that going. Or we do, right? No, Gunnar, we don't all bring whiteboards. We just have class while you all stand at the whiteboard, just writing your snark, just and putting like memes up with tape or magnets. Yeah, while I just sit in a chair. That would be fantastic. Okay, launching my slides now. But anyway, no, I did the head count, and I think we're sitting on about 20% of all the classes, my two classes, where that many students are out, like currently diagnosed with COVID. All right, now I'm just waiting for my slides. It's got to be my system. It's just got to be dogged up somehow. Okay, here we go. All right, we were talking about. Oh, I remember we were talking about design and the secret to great design, right? Does that sound right? Um, okay, I want to come back to. I'm going to bounce around these slides a little bit, but you should be able to see up on the big screen there on the stream on the video the slides. And we did this one already, right? We did. Well, we didn't do this one. We did that one, wet caution paint. Remember that? I think that's what we were talking about on Wednesday was wet caution paint. And all right, thanks, Mike. Yeah, so here's what I want to talk about real quick. The secret, I mentioned this before, and I want to talk about a couple of things that are pretty important. Um, let's see. Um, we talked about the fact that if you don't know that something sucks, you can't make it be great because the process. Do you remember this? We're on topic now, which again, apologies for the delay. We're on topic. Do you remember that we talked about that the secret to great design is the recognition that something sucks? Okay. Now there's a principle which I'm going to back up on called Gestalt, but it relates to this principle of design. Before you're even consciously aware, when you're looking at something, playing with something, touching something, tasting something, whatever, your brain is doing this massive and elaborate pattern matching. Okay. Um, yeah, no. So Gunnar, I didn't say you can now do all the things because you think it sucks, but it's the beginning. It's the beginning. If you didn't know it sucks, you could never make a better one. That's really what that's about. There's a bunch of steps between then and getting to, what's better. Knowledge in your field, you know. So that's what you get, Gunnar, for being a smart aleck. Uh, but the I refer to these things as shiny objects and squeaking doors. Okay, this is a principle. Now this is going to show up. Um, we could just redesign teams, maybe. I don't know. It's possible. Somebody needs to. Here's the principle of shiny objects and squeaking doors. Tell me about, have you ever had a situation where you bumped into something? Now, when I say shiny objects, And when I say squeaking doors, I'm talking metaphorically. I'm not talking about actual shine, and I'm not talking about actual squeak. Although it may be shiny and it may be squeaky, that's not the point. I just call them shiny objects. These are things that when you see them, they make you go, "Ooh, there's something about that, that really, hooks me." I don't know why. Have you ever had that experience where you bumped into something and maybe the first time you saw it, maybe you're a kid at Disneyland or, uh, you know, holographic Charizard. Nice, Seth. Right? What other things show up, in your experience? And then the squeaking doors are things that just annoy you. They bug you. They get in the way. They're clunky. They impede you rather than benefiting you. Okay, that's the idea. So when I talk about shiny objects, here's the principle. I'm going to back it up. Um, and this is this principle. Yeah, this is this principle of Gestalt. Okay. Um, you usually know that something sucks before you know why it sucks, and before what you would do to make it not suck. You also similarly know that something's amazing before you know why it's amazing or how you would do something to make a similar thing amazing. Okay. Um, and there's this principle called reification, where your brain does pattern matching at a subconscious level, and you don't even know why. Okay. Want Seth. Um, yeah, no vacuum suck jokes. They're not. It's not funny. It's not fresh anymore, Seth. That's not been fresh since you were a baby. Maybe even before that, it was already tired. Okay. But here's the idea: your brain loves to do pattern matching. It's what your brain does. Okay, your brain is good at it, and it's one of the reasons that we make. There we go. That it's one of the reasons that we love to solve puzzles. We love to do Sudoku. We love to do crossword puzzles or whatever. Um, and the reason we do those is because our brain, when we solve the puzzle, when we connect the dots, our brain releases these happy chemicals like dopamine and a number of others. And it's just a satisfaction. Okay. Um, and it's the same reason when you get to comedy. Okay. When you're watching a comedian, if the joke doesn't require, think about this for a second and tell me if you've thought about this or experienced it. If the joke doesn't expect you or require of you that you do some work to connect the dots, if that doesn't happen, it's not funny. Think about that. What makes comedy funny is that you connect the dots, that you do work, solve the puzzle. And when it's done skillfully by a great comedian, um, right, as Dallin says, explaining the joke ruins the joke. Exactly. Um, if you have to explain it, it's not funny, even though in your mind you can think to yourself, okay, that's kind of funny. And the other thing, too, that's really interesting about comedy is if the gap is like spark plugs. With spark plugs, there's two pieces of metal. They look kind of approximately like that. And there's a gap right here. And the gap needs to be within a certain tolerance. If it's too small, there's no arc, there's no spark between it. And if it's too big. It's too far for there to be an arc. So it's got to be, if it's too close to make a spark. And if it's too far, it can't arc that far. So you've got to have right in the right gap, in that right measurement. And when you hit that sweet spot, then there's a spark of electricity that moves across between one side to the other. So that's the function of a spark plug. Um, and it's the function of comedy. Okay. Um, it is the core of comedy. There has to be enough work that you have to do to solve the puzzle so that it releases the brain chemical. If it's too obtuse, if it's too, you know, I don't know. Thank you for the spark plug picture. Who posted that? Seth. Um, if you have to work too hard at the joke, if it's just like you don't have the background knowledge to understand the joke, then it's not funny. If it's too close together, it's not, it's too obvious, then it's also not that funny. It's one of the problems I have in general with puns. Puns in general are not funny because they're just like one step away. And most people who are really, really, they're usually have like, maybe they're like your dad or your uncle or something, um, where they tell these puns and then they'll say, "Don't you think that's punny?" And it's so stupid that what they're really going for is the groan, right? To me, when you're going for a groan, I don't think you're dealing in some high comedy. I think I think there's a certain, that to me, the gap is too small. And you're just like, I see what you're trying to do, but it's just not funny, you know? And most puns have expired. That's the problem, you know? And I think we're in agreement that puns are not comedy. But everybody I've known who deals in puns, they'll say it and then they'll look at you like waiting for you to groan. And I just think that's just a weird social structure. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, but great comedy, it just kind of sets you up, uh, and you start to laugh. But that laughter is triggered by brain chemicals. Okay. The point is, your brain knows that it's funny, even if you can't be that funny. Maybe you couldn't write a joke that funny, but you recognize it when you hear it. Okay. Similarly, you recognize when it's not funny. Little kids try to tell you, they try to tell you jokes and it's not that funny. Okay. What's the point? The point is that your brain performs pattern matching. Okay. And before you know why or how, you already are having a reaction. So what this means is that when you're doing design, it's important to trust your brain. Okay. When you see something or use something and it just makes you happy, there's something going on there that's triggering that dopamine release. So here's an example. Okay. What is that a picture of? What's that a picture of? Canute says triangle. We got the Illuminati. Nice. We got the Pac-Men. What's that? Yeah, yeah. You got the three. If you take it really literally, but your brain, be honest. You be honest. Your brain wants there to be a white triangle over three black circles, right? I mean, doesn't your brain want that? Your brain wants it because your brain is trying to see the pattern. It's trying to see more meaning than the lib. That's why it's so difficult to train, a car to drive itself using cameras because it sees everything too literally and it has to tease the patterns apart. We see something moving and we don't just see a line going across the screen. We see, a bird that we're going to hit, or we see things and we attach greater meaning. Okay, that's just horrible, Seth. That's horrible. Shame on you. Shame. Yeah, that's horrible. Thank you, Seth, for nothing. Okay, what about this one? Where are we? What about that one? What say you? I got a worm wrapped around a bar. I got bamboo, snake S thing, not sure, apostrophes, a snake around a tower. Python logo before grip, worm, single helix. Yeah. Okay, now let's go literally again. Let's go literally. If you obscure, I mean, like, let's say, for example, I think I can actually do this. Hang on a second. I think I can use the squirrel to like obscure part of the graphic, using these memes to obscure. Okay, now what is it? Single apostrophe. Could be a thumb, a slide. Okay? In other words, what's going on here, sorry, let me just get these back where they belong. So what's going on is that, just a second. Now I've messed with my screen. That'll probably cause another freeze up of the entire system. Yeah, I shouldn't have used my memes for hiding. Okay, Jigglypuff from above. Yeah. Okay, but here's the point. Literally, it's kind of like just mirrored apostrophes. But you're trained to see this thing going like around a pole and wrapping back around, right? Some kind of a wrap around, and you see structure, but there's no structure there. Okay, let me do another one. What about that one? What do you see? COVID. Yeah, that's true. Spiky ball, mine from Minesweeper, a mine. Yeah, right. But it's not. I mean, it literally isn't. You know, it's a bunch of triangles. I mean, literally, life is but a dream. It's just a bunch of triangles and four kind of cone looking things. But when you place them into a certain, you know, orientation, right? Your brain tries to make meaning. It tries to solve puzzles. Okay? It tries to create connections. Okay? That's what it does. I got one more. Let me see. Yeah, here's one more. Come on, where are you? What about that one? What is it? Yeah, exactly. It's the Loch Ness monster, right? It's Nessie, or it's everybody's going for Loch Ness monster on this one. Yeah, Serpent from Valheim, nice. Okay, point is that these are just black and white. Could be a guy drowning, but he'd have to be like a stick figure guy drowning. Okay, what's my point? My point is that your brain is doing, could be a shoelace. Your brain is doing pattern matching all the time. Okay, and this is really the point. And this gets us to shiny objects and squeaking doors. Okay, when you see something or play with something or use something or touch something, any of the senses, or just, your brain is using something and it really lights you up, you gotta start with the assumption that um, it's a real thing and that there really is a shiny object. And then what you have to do is stop and say, why is it attractive? Why is it interesting? This is what relates to Alexander's quality without a name. Okay? When you walk into a certain building, a certain courtyard or a garden or a space or a room or whatever, and it feels like, oh yeah, I feel really comfortable here. Your brain is doing a bunch of pattern matching to allow you to see and to feel like this is a good place to stay, or this is a bad place to stay. It's a place you need to leave, right? When you're in a room and the emotion of the room makes you just feel uncomfortable and awkward there. A great example is just hotel rooms. I've spent a lot more time in hotel rooms than probably any of you. It's amazing to me how often I've stayed in nice hotels where there was no comfortable place just to sit, like no couch like material. There was no place, to kind of just feel at home. And eventually I got to the point where I would really try hard whenever I was traveling to get myself into a residence inn. And the reason I'd try to get into a residence inn is because there's a countertop, high counter, there's fridge, there's a stove. First of all, it feels a little bit like home, but they always have like at least one couch and sometimes two, little coffee table. It just, there's places, especially if you're traveling with somebody or a group of people, there's places to kind of spread out. I've been in hotel rooms where there was literally just not a single place other than maybe try to sit in the bed. And then there's always like some piece of art behind your head. It's not comfortable, where there's literally no comfortable place in that room to just sit. And who decided, that we're going to talk about use cases starting probably next week. Who made the decision that sitting sitting and relaxing, sitting and reading wasn't a fundamental use case of a hotel room? You would think that it would be kind of obvious, but it's remarkable just how often hotel rooms don't seem to be built to live in. To you know what I mean? I don't mean to live in permanently, but I mean just to kind of hang out in and spend time there, because it's just so uncomfortable. Okay, so that's the point. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question on an upcoming small project. And by the way, I did add the small projects to the calendar. And so if there was a couple of you that didn't do the first small project, the getting to know you. So if you haven't done it, just please do it. It's kind of auto graded, but I'll just, it's the most of the small projects. I'm not being really persnickety on grading. Okay. It's really more just kind of participation. And if you've thrown yourself into it, I'm going to be okay. Okay. So one of the upcoming small projects is going to ask you to talk about shiny objects that you've experienced in your own life. Just things, systems, objects, things you've come across that just lit you up for some reason. iPhone really was that for me, Jansen. The first time I got my hands on one, it was so novel. It was so unique compared to flip phones and everything else that existed in the sort of smartphone category. So Seeds, what's a 3080? I'm out of my depth. What is it? Oh, graphics card. Okay, gotcha. Okay, William, is that really true? Jetpack Joyride on the iPhone 3 changed your life? Are you being smart aleck, or is that actually true? It was a game? It's a game? Yeah. Um, no, it's interesting. Tetris. I was there in the 80s when the original Tetris showed up. And it did a thing. It was unique. It was very, very unique. It spawned an entire genre, you know. Also in real life, you know what I mean? In real life, there are maybe places you want to go back to, things you want to do. In the video game thing, I was around for most of that evolution. Doom was probably like that. The original Doom, so unique, so novel, man. So yeah, okay, but you get the idea. Well, when you're doing design, you're always involved in an iterative process. It shines, trust that. That's the dopamine release. It shines, trust it. Play with that. Now you go, we kind of get to A/B testing. More shine, less shine. Okay. If it's squeaking doors, think about a squeaking door as if your door squeaks, even if you're not like a mechanic or a, handyman or whatever, you still can kind of like go to the door and kind of be like, you're trying to figure out why is it squeaking. Once you figure out why it's squeaking, then you can sort of, oil the door, grease the door, do whatever you do to try to, mitigate the squeak. But it starts with the fact that it's squeaking. Okay. Seeds, the original Doom, which I think maybe ran on DOS. I think it was running on DOS. And you could network it on a Novell network running IPX, SPX, which kind of preceded TCP/IP. So I was actually playing networked video games in the early 90s, keyboard based. Anyway, no, it wasn't ASCII. It was graphics. It was graphics. Must not have been. Nah, I don't remember what it was. I don't remember. Okay, so let me keep going. So let's get to. There was wet caution paint. Tell me about this one. Give me your reactions to this one. What say you? Yeah, right. It's the gel pen label colors, right? Um, it highlights. Now, here's a question, right? Okay, so Wes said it highlights what feels like the important floors. Well, yeah, but define highlight, Wes. What is it? The colors? Because I think the color. I mean, there's a yeah, M, L, and P. P's got to be parking. I don't. Maybe parking up. Parking and then main. And then L, I don't know, lobby, lower. It's a mess. Also, at a glance, it makes you stop and work too hard. Okay? What you're looking for in great design is something that triggers like a visceral response with the user. You see it, you interpret immediately. Also, what's this ziggy zaggy back and forth, right? Because you go 7, 5, 6. I mean, you tend to read top to bottom, left to right. So instead, it wants you to go 7 on the left, jump to the right, down and jump to the right, then bring it back. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, P plus 3. It's horrible. Also, it looks to me like all the numbers, all the ones with numbers 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, they all say office. Is the Braille correct? Does the Braille lend any insight? Thank you, Seth. Yeah, the open and alarm buttons. Yes. Okay. But right, this is just insane. Um, Now, here's the problem. Okay, it's another principle we're going to talk about a little later. Um, Canute, the close button. I have a theory that the close button doesn't ever do anything. So maybe this is just evidence of that, or maybe it's the button on the right of the open button with the label pulled with the thing, the 2 empty holes. I think that maybe used to be the close. I don't know. Maybe right. I think Walter somebody tore the label off. Um, Yeah. Oh, also, check it out. I've got P plus 3, P plus 1, P plus 2, P minus 1, and P star 0. Is that P times 0? What is it? Is it a hybrid? Is it a hybrid between plus and minus? Okay. Point is, we're going to talk about Don Norman and the design of everyday things. It's a book I recommend if you're interested in design. Um, Norman, and also there's some work that Philip Armour did, of the Orders of Ignorance fame. Um, but this notion that objects should embody within them the knowledge required to use them. Okay? Are you with me? Tracking? Let me say it again. Objects should embody within them the knowledge required to use them. You shouldn't have to bring some external knowledge to remember how to use a system if the system is well designed. It should teach you of its own usage. Okay? And there's a bunch of principles. Now, this is not It's not a user interface design class because I want to use this as an example to start talking about use cases, use case design, and the design of everything, the design of code, the design of systems, architectures, all of it is an iterative process by which you begin with recognizing that something sucks, or that meaning a squeaking door, or that it's a shiny object. And when you see the shiny object, that gets you lit up, your brain lights up, and now you don't know why it's a shiny object, but you know that it is. And the fact that it is means you can kind of trust it. This makes you go, your first reaction is recoil. Too much information, right? And your first reaction is to recoil. Now you can stop and go, well, why exactly am I recoiling? And by the way, I've done a lot of study in this area. Elevator controls are such a rich area of examples of bad. So many bad elevator, control panels. And I've almost never seen any two elevators with the same controls. I don't know why that's possible. You'd think there'd be some standardization in elevators somewhere out there. Okay, let me see what else we got. What about that one? Just noodle on that for a second. What do you got? You like that one? Landon likes it. Luke likes it. Yeah, someone's wife wanted the entrance. Seth sees nothing wrong. Do not have Seth design your house. Midlife crisis. Yeah. No, wait, James, was that really a house in your old neighborhood? But why isn't that bad? I disagree with you, Canute. By the way, you have to still tell me whether you're mocking me or if that's your actual name. Um, I'm just hitting the comments going by. Gunner appreciates the audacity, but questions the decision. Yeah, yeah. Wait, hang on. Uh, yeah, yeah. You need a trebuchet, and the two dogs out front is a nice touch. No, it's a complete stylistic weirdness. Like, what are you doing? You know, is there are there stairs? I would assume. I would assume. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It just creates a weird dissonance. You know what I mean? Yeah, there are some groups. Facebook. Oh yeah, see, nah. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. How about this one? Just a little signage. This is one of those interesting things. Um, what about this one? Noki Parng. Noki Parng. Right? This is one of those. Okay, this. Nobody reads a sign this way. It's a failure to understand use cases. That's the bottom line. Okay? This is an example of a failure to understand use cases. Um, you have to understand, and this is also true of like web page design. We sometimes design web pages as if they're going to be read top to bottom, left to right, and that is nobody reads websites like that. What actually happens is your eyes are drawn to like boom, 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 a couple key things, right? And then you backfill information because you're trying to make a decision as rapidly as you can about what's the call to action and what is your decision going to be. Okay. Now, but there's also certain patterns to the way people read signs, and they don't read signs left top to bottom and then right top to bottom. They read Noki Parn. Let me see what else I've got. I've got a couple other ones, again related to signage. Give me this one. Just noodle on that for a second. I think they lost it somewhere. I think they started in with some kind of idea. Yeah, what do you read first? I mean, the first thing I see is we're your not till not happy. Yeah, James, I read it the same way. Now, you might read it a different way. And then once, but here's the problem with this one. Is, yeah, we're not happy till you're not happy. I mean, if you stop, give it a minute, and tease it apart, you realize it says you're not happy, we're not happy till you're not happy. I mean, somebody had this idea, we're not happy till you're happy. I think is what they were going for, but it just got out of control. They lost it. Coming around the curve, hit the bales of hay. We're your not till not happy. No, of course. No, that's not the message. You're not happy. We're not happy till you're not happy. Then we're happy when you're not happy, right? No, this is an example. Thank you for this. So seeds, say pizza to drugs, say no to yes. You know, I don't even know, right? What do you do with that? I don't know. But there's many. But I subscribe to it. There's a Facebook group. Um, that's kind of like bad signs, just bad signs. It's so rich, man. It's so rich. Um, yeah. Anyway, horrible. Let me do another one. Oh man, let's do another one. Okay, what about this one? Rats. White trap. Ya derf. Yeah, it takes you a while, right, Derek? Star Party Friday. I think it's you got to read it. Now, I imagine I don't know, but I'm wondering if it has matching. No, I was going to say maybe it had matching pages on the back sides. You know what I mean? Maybe they figured people would be approaching, from that side. So then they're going to somehow read right to left. It doesn't. Oh, you're right. It could be right. It could be, Mike, that maybe you have to be on the right side of the poles, in which case it could be that it was built. Another classic is to build it from a perspective that's not common for the actual user or reader, but you say it from your perspective, right? Like the Kronk example, right? That we talked about. And I don't know what a Star Party Friday is, um, or why. Yeah, James is coming. Give us a report next week, James. Um, I just like reading it. Ya derf, rats. Why trap? Ya derf. No, but if it does make sense, as Mike suggests, that it looks okay from the other side, the problem is not everybody's going to read it from that other side. Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Okay. So here's let me hit. We're rolling. We wasted so freaking much time. Um, but this is the point. This is the point. Design is really about minimizing squeaking doors and maximizing shiny objects in an iterative process where you're going to fail a bunch, so you need to do it fast. So if you can say, let me try this, no, this, better, hotter, colder, right? Play the hotter, colder game. And you just tried it 10 different places and you finally found the one that you think works the best. You just failed 9 times. That makes you a success, not a failure, because you got it right. You figured it out right. Okay. And this kind of comes back to the orders of ignorance, where we're not afraid to be wrong or to fail. Okay. We talked about this a lot in 305G. This sort of, we talked a little bit about it here with the orders of ignorance. It's about not being afraid to be wrong, and understanding that recognizing that you're wrong is this pathway toward figuring it out and getting it right. Okay. This one relates. I talk more about this in 305G when we talk about writing, and I think I mentioned this in class. Did I not mention this in class? That Hemingway wrote the last page of A Farewell to Arms 39 times, and he just said he was trying to get the words right. Oh wow, Mike. Now is that a picture you took, Mike? You said it's your personal archive. Oh, that's fantastic. And are those posted from this side or from the other side? Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. That's fantastic. Yeah. So anyway, but this idea of just not being afraid to throw stuff away, that's really the punchline, okay? Um, and this relates to writing, but it really, really relates to design, okay? Which is that there's no great writing, only great rewriting. I would say there's no great design, there's just more persistent iteration. There's just perpetual A/B testing between what it was and what you now tried, and one of them caused a little more dopamine, and you're like, no, 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 boom, recognizing when you hit the shiny object, you know. So anyway, hey, we're out of time because we piddled away all of our freaking time. Again, sincere apologies. I probably need to, like, I don't know, bring Krispy Kremes or something to make it up for everybody. That could happen. Yeah, yeah. No, I really do feel bad. It's not a bad idea. Anyway, hopefully after the stupid start, it got better. But um, anyway, let's give it a rest right now. Let's come back Thursday in class. We can talk about this experience and continue to decide whether we were all stupid in the first place. We should just stay, on campus, going in person. But we'll see. Okay, my friends, let's call it a day. And no, Crumble's not better than Krispy Kreme, Luke. I'm sorry, you're wrong. Crumble's overrated. Fight me. No, not both. Okay. Alrighty, take care, everybody. I'm gonna shut it down, and we'll come back and wrap this up on Wednesday. Sorry, man. Still haven't got my schedule figured out. Wednesday in class.